Perth Linux Users Group, talking Linux and open source.
So today we're going to be talking about my project called Dorothy, which is a dotfile ecosystem. It's cross-shell, cross-operating system, and cross-architecture. Now, it gives you hundreds of primitives that you can compose. These can be shell functions, or it can be commands that you run to make getting set up with operating systems on different machines, on different architectures very easily, and it works across all the different shells. So it originally started as my dot files. We could go back to what it was back before in 2013. It was very basic, very simple, and just my dot files. And then eventually I discovered Fish. I wanted to move to Fish, which had better interactive prompts. And then nothing worked because I coded this all in a syntax that was for Bash, and then Fish has a different syntax. So I had to then rewrite everything. But then eventually in 2017, I figured out a way to have it so you could write your configuration and have it work with all the different shells that you use. And then by then, you could also write, instead of writing functions, you wrote commands, and you could have those commands run across all the different shells. So you had the ability to have functions for specific shells, but then also commands that would run across the different shells. And then that grew over the many years into what Dorothy is today, which is 4,000 commits. Now, today, 500 stars hit that milestone, and there's a few contributors, and there are a few sponsors, which are good. And that's kind of keeping it going. So we got to shout out the sponsors. So Andrew Nesbitt, Canonical, they're doing it via Thanks Dev, Edward Schwartz, DaVinci, Front-End Masters, this one's website isn't working, and RoboFlow. So we got, that's the contributors, the sponsors. Yeah, Andrew Nesbitt, Canonical, DaVinci, Edward Schwartz, Front-End Masters, and Pinacha Metapa, and RoboFlow. So they're contributing some funds to it, which is really helpful because everything is, I've been doing open source my entire life. Ever since I was a teenager, I got into JavaScript programming, wrote several popular JavaScript packages, well, actually hundreds of them that get millions of downloads. And I'm getting some money through TireLift to work on them and to also work on my own projects. And then companies will sponsor that, and that's my job essentially, is writing open source software. And I've been doing JavaScript from 2010 to 2020, but then from 2020 it's been Dorothy, primarily because of what Dorothy did. Primarily, I worked on Dorothy because in 2020 I got a bunch of Raspberry Pis. I wanted everything to work on the Raspberry Pis coming from a Mac. These days, it's a framework as of a week or two ago. And by using Dorothy, it gave me all these commands that I could easily use on different systems that would work the same way. So prior to Dorothy, I would go to Stack Overflow. How do I do this on this operating system, on this architecture, on this distro? I'd get an answer that may or may not work for that one specific distro or environment, or maybe it's out of date. But then with Dorothy, what I did over the years was build these commands that then figured out how to do all these different things. So we now have hundreds of commands. If I write Dorothy commands, we'll see all the commands that we have. That might take, oh yeah, there we go. So we have a lot of commands now. We've got ones for asking you for information, for receiving text truths, picking from a list, checksum for calculating checksums for different algorithms, dates for working with dates, confirm, do you wish to confirm this? Yes or true or Boolean or negative as the defaults, down for downloading files from different URLs. Now, all of these commands, they'll work with what tooling you have available on your system. Down, it'll choose curl or wget based on what's on your system. And if you are missing a dependency, it might prompt you, or it'll install it automatically based on the requirement. We've got ones for escaping, like different type of escaping, working with fstab, working with JSON as well. And yeah, there's a lot which we can see. And for getting into that one, I got what is my IP address? So that actually allowed me to get my IP address right away. What is my IP? And then we got my IP address. I don't have to go to Stack Overflow. How do I get my IP address? Now, all of the commands, as of a month ago, they have this really pretty help. So we can go here, prompt, usage. We get like the details on how to use it, question, whatnot. So, and this is consistent, and the rendering of this is also really good, which is we can do it via echo help, and then we can go boop, 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 about. This is my command, dot, usage, bump, and then backtick, and escape backtick. So echo my command, dot, options. All right, and end the backtick. And now we'll end that quote, boom. So if we're writing commands, we can get these benefits of these little composable primitives to write very powerful commands across whatever system we have. There's three types of commands. So there's ones called transformers. So if I could say echo uppercase, and I can pass in an argument, hello, that's going to make it uppercase. I can also say standard in, hello, whoops. And then that's going to make it uppercase that way. And then there's going to be helpers for these writing those type of commands. So if we go open recent, it's already opened in Dorothy. So echo uppercase, if I close U. So this is the uppercase one. It's testing the help and that it's compiling fine. You know, bash compiling is just running, there's no syntax errors. And then this is our usage for it. If we go back here, echo uppercase help. So that's our little help there. And most of the commands are written in bash. Some of the more advanced commands are written in new shell. Some commands are written in Z shell. But probably most it's bash, and it's going to be the largest library of quality bash commands that I'm aware of. And some of this power on this one, is this still active? Or do I need it? Oh, yeah, less. No. I've got my MacBook there. Hopefully it's still alive. Exit. No. All right, the SSH is timed out. But there's some really advanced commands that work on the different systems and whatnot. But let's say I want to install a utility. Okay, there's 183 utilities. So if I want to install bat, I can just run setup util bat, and it's detected it's already installed. If I want to uninstall it, just uninstall, and then it's going to uninstall it. So for all these different commands, these will install based on whatever operating system you have, whatever package ecosystem that you have. So right now it's detected that, yep. Right now, it will depend. So right now it's going via DNF. So if we look at the bat command, setup util bat, this is how an installer is generally done. So this is how we specify it. So we say, okay, the CLI is bat, and then this is all the different sources that it is available. So RPM, this is going to apply for DNF and for Yum. So it's figured out that we have bat available, and we're on an RPM, bat via RPM on an RPM system, and DNF is available. So now it's prompting me if I want to install it, well, yeah, via DNF. But here, yeah, it's turned out it's installed via a few different mechanisms. So it's actually uninstalling it via all. It probably failed on RPM because it already uninstalled via these two. So if I say uninstall, it should say, yeah, it's already uninstalled now. So if we say install, and then I can say order, and then I could say if I don't want it to install via DNF, I want it to install via download, and then try the others. I can actually specify what order I want things to be downloaded in. One of the issues that is going to be tackled this year is having rootless ability. So you can install Dorothy, install the commands without any administrator access. Because one of Dorothy's biggest fans is a professor at a university. And a lot of people at school educations use it because it makes getting used to the command line so much easier. You've got these intuitive command line names. You've got some high quality code available to you. So a lot of people in educational institutions are using it. So rootless is going to be an important thing, but that's quite complicated. There's already a branch for that, and that's going to be coming. So yeah, if we want to install BAT again, it's going to go and install that by the appropriate means. That is actually handled by this bash command. That is 3,956 lines long. But like most commands now, it has some great help. So we can say setup util help, and we're going to learn how it works and everything. So these are all the different ecosystems that it supports. So like MAS is the Mac App Store. You can install Go packages, Ruby gems, Evel for a custom thing that you want to install. 1Password is going to use Evel based on some intricacies there. DNF, Rust cargoes. So if I want to install that, it install via DNF, but I could also say setup util cli bat, let's say RPM bat, and then we'll say uninstall. So this is going to uninstall it via DNF. I don't have to figure out how DNF works or how apt works or how whatever it works. I can just do it that way. If I'm on an app system, I say apt. If I'm on Mac, I can say brew. And this is quite good because I recently got this framework computer after leaving Apple, fortunately. And then I had to install a few different apps on here. So what was one of them? It was, let's see, it was GitHub Desk. Oh, OBS is a good one. So OBS. So to install OBS, turns out if you're running it by Flatpak, it needs this, like some patches done. So then this will apply the patches. And then once those patches are unneeded, they can be removed. And then we can see, okay, OBS is actually an app. We prefer Flatpak on Winget. This is the Windows App Store version. And we can download it also from GitHub. So we saw there's 183 of these installers that work. And we can write these installers. I think it took me like 10 minutes to write this. But for the average one, it's going to be a lot easier than that. Or you can make it as easy. We got like fonts as well. This one's probably going to be a simple one. So the simple one, if it's already available via package managers, you're just looking at 20 lines of code to then make this work, installing Lux across whatever system you're on. Yep. 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 Yep.
So it used to be the unlicensed, and now it's the art level.
Yes, this is a good question.
Everyone agrees it's free.
Yeah. So it was licensed under the unlicensed, probably until 2021 or 22, something like that. Maybe even 2023 when I gave my last one. But then we moved to the RPL, which is kind of like the GPL plus, I guess, but it's clearer language, it's simpler, which is then to say, if you make a modification to Dorothy core, you have to give back that modification, and your stuff should be public. So yeah, but with Dorothy, you actually do your extensions by your user repository. So when you set up Dorothy, it will set up your own user repository here. You can write your own commands. Here, this is my user repository. Local ones are local ones that aren't going to be public to other people, and your configuration as well. So setup bash, this is going to be everything I want installed on different systems, my favorite utilities, things like this. So there's like 5 years of work that's gone into it. It's a huge thing. And as an independent developer, monopolies like to see what you're doing and then hire a team for a month to then replicate it, and then you're screwed. So that's why it's RPL license right now, why it moved to the RPL license. Readability is going to be the main thing. The GPL, you need to be a lawyer to understand it. When the RPL, it was immediately readable and understandable for what it offers. And for me, that's a very important thing. But yeah, it's going to be like the RPL, the GPL. But like the GPL, again, you have to be a lawyer to know all the intricacies, when for the RPL, it's going to be a different case. I'll just show the echo uppercase command before we finish. So this one, we're including standard in args. We got a help, and then standard in args is giving us an on whole. So we're operating on the whole argument or the standard in at once, and we're calling this helper. So if we're writing bash scripts, there's this bash.bash command, script, and it is now large as of last year. Before it used to only be 100, but then I realized like a lot of the slowdown is invoking different files on a file system. If you just have one file that has everything, it's actually really fast compared to like 10 different files, or 20, 30 different small little files. And with bash, like say working with multi-line arrays, like say you've got array index 0 and it's multiple lines, you now need like a custom delineator between them so you can separate them. When we have like some really cool stuff here, so if we have some helpers, so I could say, let's say unique, I want a unique array. I can say source plus target equals variable. And this is now going to make everything unique in here. If I want to split a string, split source, and then string variable. String variable, and then I can say target, and then array variable. And then I can say delineator, or whatever it is. We've got join, we've got replace, we've got has. So we've got all of these like helpers in that bash.bash that allows you to write some really cool, really cool commands. So if we check out get devices, we've got all sorts of cool stuff. So yeah, split, no zero length, and get it by invoking this function. We got echo regexp for running regular expressions on stuff, which is amazing. And we saw like this styling here that we're all getting. This is just like echo style. If you're using bash, it'll be print style. And we can say success, and then say, I hope this was helpful. Well, so yeah, that'll be the end, but because we're short on time. But yeah, you can find out everything about Dorothy, and I had a lot of other notes, like a quick briefing that I had. Where'd it go in my gist for what it is? But yeah, so briefly, Dorothy, if you want your computer to actually work for you rather than being owned by a computer, and Dorothy is great for that because you get the flexibility to go from one ecosystem to a different ecosystem and move between them. You want to reduce the redundant efforts. Instead of everyone fighting for updates and Stack Overflow on their own blogs, you can just write a command, share it with other people. Now everyone benefits from that. When they pull the updates to Dorothy, they'll get that updates. And it's been Dorothy's been under development for a long time, since 2013 was the first one, but then it became Dorothy in 2020. So it's a slow project that's been there for a long time, and it's going to be something eternally useful, like how Bash is. It was written in 1989, and it still powers so much workflows today. But Dorothy's about that intention. If I want to get my devices, I don't care if get devices is written in Bash or in Rust or whatever, I just want to get my devices. So with it being commands, if I just decide a different thing is going to be a better tool for it, so subtitles, one of these is going to be new. Yeah, so subtitles translate. This one would translate subtitles to a different language, and this one is written in new because it's going to be the better tool for that job. So yeah, hopefully that's good. Do we have time for questions or not? Yep. Yep.
So does this mean you need all the different shells installed?
No. So most are written in bash. If it is written in new, it's going to install new. An example that comes to mind is going to be expand path. So if we're running an old bash version that doesn't have globstar, which is going to be a fresh Mac OS installation, then it's going to invoke Z shell instead to then process that. And then if not, in this case, it's going to be like error, what do we do? But a lot of the times we can find like say setup util -- quiet. These are times where it's going to be installing something in the background that we actually want to achieve that intention. But in terms of the shells, it's going to be something that during the initial process of Dorothy, we've got this great pushed today, this new setup process for Dorothy. So I can run setup shell. It might be taking some time for the internet maybe. And then I can pick which shells I actually want to install on my system. So bash is like the only dependency, and we say that right there, bash will always be installed. This choose menu, another great example of a Dorothy command. This is a Dorothy command written in bash, and we can see the wrapping and everything, the hotkeys and whatnot are all available. So if I just press enter now, it's going to keep those ones installed. So it's the setup shell process when you install Dorothy. It'll ask what shells you want installed, what shells you want uninstalled, what shells you want to upgrade. So right now we don't want to upgrade any. And then it's going to say which ones do we want to configure for Dorothy. Using Dorothy with your shells, it's optional. And it's going to grow more optional over time, like say the setup util ecosystem. The README has an example where you can invoke Dorothy commands just via curl. So for people who say wrote bat, they could just write a little curl script and then it's going to install bat. And then it will know how because of what's on the system and everything. And then it'll say which ones do you want to allow for your login shell. So the etc/shells, it'll allow you to customize that. And then it'll finally prompt you for your login shell. So yeah, these are the ones that I want enabled by Dorothy. So in this case, it's going to be all. And then the next is going to say which ones do I want to allow. So, yeah, right now it's configuring those shells for Dorothy. But yeah, everything you're seeing is like, yeah, it's written in Dorothy, all the styling, all the intelligence, all the hiding of the commands, the clearing of the lines. This is all like the power that you get. One of the coolest things though is say eval tester. If you want to test your commands, so hello, echo hello, it passes. So if I now echo something else, it doesn't pass and we're going to get a failure. So if you want to test your commands, test your command line stuff, eval tester is great for that. We can test our statuses, things like that. And eval helper, wrap, echo hello, we're going to get wrapped in that, and if it fails, we're going to get the exit status. And yeah, so there's all this power that is available to achieve these goals. Yeah. Cool. Yep.